thank you for sticking around, and hello and congratulations on the film again. I wanted to ask you, there's so many mysteries in this film, and I think that its mysteries call out to be respected, and so I won't dispel that by asking for anything concrete, but I do want to ask, about just how these things occur to you and where these things sprang up from. This is such a structurally complex film, and it's a love story, of course. There's a story of the lingering trauma of war, and there's also a story about the future and an uncertain future of migration and the dangers thereof. And so, which of these threads came to you first, or did they all sort of spring up at the same time? Yeah.
I think they came more or less at the same time, and I think such an outcome, perhaps because at the beginning I didn't see things in differences. I didn't really categorize which one is, let's say, dream, which one is reality, or which one is presence or past. Yeah, so it's very funny because during the editing, for example, the editor would ask me, is it in the past or is it in the present? This kind of thing. I couldn't answer clearly, so it's kind of flow.
Yeah, for sure. The movie is very dreamlike in its structure. And what's interesting, though, is it's also a dream where characters are talking explicitly about their dreams. It's kind of operating on both a structural level and within the narrative itself. Characters keeping track of their dreams in notebooks and just sort of reciting, and that's obviously of such significance. Can you talk just a little bit about the dreaminess and how that pervades the film?
Yeah, I think there are maybe two things. First, is that in the film we see that the mother, she the one who keeps telling about her dreams in a very literal way. I think it's quite beautiful, and it's somehow maybe it's a way for her to express her longings or her grief. Yeah. But then I think what I want to say I forgot. But anyway, what's the question again?
It was just about the dream logic of the movie in terms of its. I think it's an editing question in terms of how things are edited together. You also sort of answered this already a little bit, but also about just characters narrating and recounting their dreams so explicitly. And is there a particular significance of their doing that?
I think also maybe because in this film I let the characters really speak what they keep in their heart. Yeah, like the scene Nam speaking to the cave. So in a way, that scene is somehow a bit how to say. We can say it's like a dream because nobody speaks to a cave, but I think the foundation of that scene or the other scenes in the film is that there's something really emotional, something that emotionally raw, and so I let the characters express in such a at times direct way.
Those scenes in the mines and the cave are so strikingly shot, also very sensually shot, of course, with Viet and Nam there. They are underground, and yet it looks as if they are floating in outer space at times. And then, of course, in the end, with the shipping container, it takes on another meaning altogether. Can you just talk about achieving the effect, this kind of otherworldly effect of that background, and just because it's some of the most striking stuff in the movie.
So I think when I went to scout the cave, under the coal mines, the underground, there are two things that I was most impressed. First is the silence, because down there is complete silence. It looked like in a sound studio, actually. We can hear everything, the voices, the breathing, and we even can smell, I mean, in that sense. And then the second thing is the visual. It's dark. It's really dark. And then inside that darkness, what we can see is the glittering of the coal that look like stars. So from that, I think real observation, I try to build this, because the star underground, I mean, somehow it's very romantic, and it brings something that go along with the relationship of the two characters. And and also I think how to use the darkness in that space, because the darkness here is not something that limits our vision, but it's something that really enlarges our imagination. So I think because of that, really, that when we see those scenes, we have the feeling at the same time they are in the underground, but also they look like they are traveling in the universe.
Yeah, it's so many things. It's like it's a refuge, it's also freedom, and it's also entrapment, all simultaneously. Can you talk a little bit about the characters of Viet and Nam, who I notice are never, if I recall correctly, they're never specifically delineated as such. They're never, you're never entirely sure who's who. Can you talk about that? There's all sorts of reasons why that may be, of course, but can you talk about that choice? And just also with working with the actors, who are really, I think, really memorable, and yet the characters are so quiet throughout, and they almost sometimes seem like individuals, and sometimes they seem like two halves of a whole. And just talk about the characters of them specifically.
So I think this many audience also ask me about this, like why Viet and Nam, when actually in the film we don't really know their names, because they never we never hear their names in the film, actually. So I think so it is about this kind of this very tiny gap between identity and between anonymity. So the title, only through the title we can know their names, but maybe it's not true that it's their names, because we never hear their names. But we can guess. But in the film, for two characters, I would like to build them in a way that they are interchangeable. In the outlook, in the way they walk. Sometimes they do things in synchronization, and sometimes in the wide shots, which are many in this film, we may confuse who is who. That's one of the intentions, and I think there's some kind of reference to persona, Bergman. We can see that. I think eventually there's a feeling like two of them come from the same body, let's say, like brothers. So in that sense, it's kind of mythological. It's not really realistic anymore. And about the actors, 4 main actors and actress in this film, they are non-professional. Because I think, for example, for the veteran, he has to be a real veteran. And actually, the confession at the end of the film is is adapted based on his real memories. Because in the script it will not like that, the confession at the end. And I think for this film, I like to work with the non-professional actors because, I think what I look for is there's something, the sensitivity that's already in them, and then I adapted the characters based on that.
You've I understand that there was at least one specific real-life incident that motivated the story. I wonder if you want to share about that. And it's interesting because the action seems to take place based on the 9/11 reference in 2001, but that there was a more recent incident that kind of impelled the film, or informed the film rather. Can you tell us about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So in the film we see this image of a container or containers, and I think in October 2019, I think just shortly after I moved to France, there was this tragedy happens that there were Vietnamese people found dead in a container in UK, and this event I think impacted me emotionally greatly because. For simply reason, I'm Vietnamese, but also because the location where I was living at that moment, strangely, it was in the middle of the journey of the container, which started in a port in Belgium, and then it ended in Essex in UK. So, and I was living somehow in the middle. So the proximity of the location and also the proximity of being Vietnamese, how to say, it made me feel very perplexing and something that unspeakable I felt. And so this film is somehow an emotional response to that event, but it's not an adaptation or a retelling about that event, because I felt it was too close to really do something about that event, the journey of the container, if we may say that, but also because I think I would like to approach this image of a container with people inside in a more we can say complex way, and that's why we also see there is the 9/11 event in the film, and actually when we see the whole film we realize that the whole film has already blurred a lot of time of the events, the past and the present. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you know when that incident happened? At what point did you know that the shipping container was going to be the closing image of the film?
Yeah, I think it was right in the script writing. Yeah, and somehow the script, the last image is more or less is that like that in the script. Yeah.
Guy, something I wanted to ask you earlier a little bit when we were talking about Vietnam also, and the title card that comes up partway through the film, I think almost exactly halfway. So talking about bifurcated protagonists and bifurcated structure of the film, can you talk about that decision? And it's interesting because it feels like the movie makes this decisive shift in the second half, and there's a new energy to it, and it becomes ever more complex. If you could speak to that, yeah.
It's true because actually this screening is the second time I watch again. The first time was in Cannes in May, and now because I would like to face this film and then to process the trauma. And actually, it's funny because after the title, I felt that the flow of the film turned to something so different that I even myself felt that it's more complex and more meandering in that way, because when they were walking in the forest. Yeah, so this structure divided the film into half. Actually, it came quite late in the editing process. Yeah, because before we didn't think about that. I guess because for many reasons, but maybe one of them is that we had to say we deleted how to say we shot more than the film, and so that the structure we need to have a new structure that somehow helps the narrative. So I think we come up with this structure.
Yeah, it's in that second part too. I believe that you introduced the character of the psychic, who is such a powerful presence on screen, and she's leading the people through these killing fields and claiming that these are the remains of their loved ones, and whether she's telling the truth or not is unclear. And it becomes very devastating, and you see just whether it's true or not, there is just such a powerful sense of grief, of the rawness of grief. And yeah, can you talk about her character and the role she plays?
Yeah, I think her character is different from the rest of the film, actually, because even in the way this character performs is really theatrical, and for that reason, I needed a professional one for this role, and I think you may feel that too. Yeah. So about psychics, I think they were very popular in the past. For example, in the period that the film set in 2001 or something like that. They were popular because it's kind of they offer a certain service, spiritual service, to search for the remnants or the remains of the dead people. Not only soldiers, but somehow it's mostly soldier, and so the family members will come to ask them for help. And I think, like you said, I think actually we don't know if it's true or not, and maybe it's not really matter if it's true or not, actually, because I think there's something about human emotion here, is that for a family member who keeps dreaming about her or his dead father, grandfather, night after night, to find something concrete, an object, anything that is told belong to her, to his father. I think, and to see and to touch that object is a way to move on, to leave this trauma or this grief behind.
I understand that the movie has been sadly banned in Vietnam, and not for necessarily the reason you might expect. It wasn't about the gay sexuality and romance depicted. It's apparently they objected to the negativity of the alleged negativity of your portrayal of Vietnam. And I'm just wondering what you've made of that, and do you think there is any hope of that being lifted anytime soon?
Yeah, I think how to say, because the band was in May, I think, just shortly before the film premiere in Cannes. So when I think about that, or how to say, when I contemplate about that, actually, I think that funnily the people in the censorship committee, for me, most of them are filmmakers or relating to cinema, and I really think that each of them is an audience, and so they have the right to like or dislike or to hate the film, but the only difference is that in this case they have a certain power to ban or not to ban the film, and they chose to ban the film, which is an extreme decision that I think completely is based on fear, which is baseless, actually, because there's nothing to fear about this film. Maybe because it's too sincere, maybe it shows something that people want to say, but they can not, but they will. So yeah, I think about hope. I mean, if the film can be shown in Vietnam one day, I hope so. But I don't really want to put my mind in that, because yeah, the film will have its own life, and I think today the audience they always can watch the film or any films that are banned sooner or late. So actually, the ban or the censorship itself is actually doesn't work.
Yes, it doesn't. No. I know it's getting late, but I think we maybe have time for one question, if possible, if anyone has one. Anyone particular? Just want to make sure, since it is a film to ask questions about, think about. Everyone's getting late. Oh, is there one? Is there? Yes, sure.
I'm gonna make it short. Thank you so much. Great film. I feel really privileged because I also understand the language. I'm also Vietnamese. It is more about script writing. Was it a choice? Was it the choice of the language that you chose to put in the script? It's very special. It's not the everyday colloquial language that we speak. Probably it makes it more dreamlike, or it makes it almost like a performance for the character. I just want to know more about it and how it makes it feel really special in a way. So I just want to know more about it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just the style, yeah, the style to let the character speak like that. There's something lyrical in the way they speak, especially if you understand Vietnamese. It's not daily way of speaking. But I guess, I think it's a style to let them speak like that. Also a way for you to feel at the same time the literature emotion, but strangely at the same time also to feel the distance, because it's not how we normally speak in daily life. So yeah.
Thank you so much for your beautiful
Thank you.
film, and please tell your friends to go see it in the spring and see it again in the spring. Thank you for being here with us.